Now, this is the power of publishing, how to create a podcast, part 2. And the reason I did it this way is because at the beginning, the first episode, part number 1 of this was really me diving into how I come up with my podcast content. It's something that I get asked frequently. How can you generate that kind of content over and over and over and repeatedly? Okay. How do I actually get this thing recorded now? I want to show you, I want to tell you real quick what the software is that I use, what kind of, real fast, just the kind of mic, and as well as how do I actually publish to 15 different platforms with a single click? I make this thing as super turnkey as possible. Number 1, you cannot be boring. Everybody, I don't care where you are, what you're doing, unless you're in the gym, it'll jack up your shoulder. Raise your arm right now and say, I state your name. As you publish with purpose, meaning I don't just put a podcast out there merely to just fill your ear with my thoughts. I'm not doing it for my own health. I'm not doing it for, I want you to go to salesfunnelradio.com and subscribe and rate. I want you to go to salesfunnelbroker.com and download the free website that I created out of ClickFunnels for you. I want you to go do those things. When you go out and you start thinking through your messaging, you've got to put together the reason why you're actually doing it. Which it's just really, really important. Just know that your publishing is a means to an end. And while it's good to just continually give tips, but what's the purpose for you? After a while, you'll experience burnout if there's not a purpose and a thing that you're shooting towards. I'm exhausted right now. I've only slept a few hours the last few nights, and this seems to be this constant theme in the past. And I would not have the wherewithal and the energy and the gusto to do this if I did not believe that it's actually helping people who've been asking me this question. So what I'm saying is to put a call to action. Put a call to action at the end of every one of your episodes or whatever it is that you're publishing or putting out there. Number 2, I'm sorry. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Okay, whatever number this is. You guys need to practice inflections. Don't speak monotone. Don't just sit there and say, funnels are fantastic. Wow, I'm really exciting. Everyone should follow me. I'm clearly a leader. You know what I mean? You can't do that. Notice at the end of every one of my sentences, did you hear that? If I was to speak a sentence without word, it would sound, and while it's really weird for me to do that on a podcast, do you get the point? Okay. You have to be vulnerable. Oh man. Anyway, that could start a whole nother tangent. But if you're not vulnerable, no one's gonna want to listen to you because you're gonna seem fake. Fair? Okay, check the box on that one. I'm gonna move forward now. All right. All right. You know what? I should probably. Okay, let me get into more of the strategy of how you actually set up the podcast itself. This is super important, and it's very, very powerful. Back in February, we were running what Russell and I are calling the FAT event, the Funnel Hackathon event. And for 3 days, people come and we help them set up their businesses to make $1 million. It's really, really cool. It's great programs, absolutely fantastic. And he asked me to MC. He had, well, at least to introduce him each day, and I was. Before I get on stage, he's like, if you can increase the state of the audience before I get on stage, increase the energy level, increase their anticipation, just get them to a higher state. He's like, and then it's way easier for me because I don't have to spend all this time doing that. All I have to do is start teaching because they're already at a fast, high, pace state. Because I'm going to be, and if they're not, it's weird. Then I got to spend all this time getting them to a state and it makes me look weird and not positioned correctly. So all you got to do is go get into a high state. And so I told this awesome story and we got everyone laughing and jumping around and they were in a really high peak state to receive Russell. Guys, your podcast intro is the exact same thing. Okay. Any intro is the exact same thing. All right. When you go out and you create a podcast intro or video intro or any kind of introduction, time to find them. And in fact, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? If you guys go to the blog, go to blog.salesfunnelbroker.com. Blog.salesfunnelbroker.com. If you find this episode here, I'm going to call it The Power of Publishing and or how to start a podcast. It'd be one of those two. And I'm going to put in there the link for my guy who does the voiceover intro, because he's so amazing. Really, really enjoy working with him. I've used him many times now. But all I do is I hand him the script. I send him the song so he knows the feel and he knows how he's matching it. And I say, cool, it's 30 seconds long. You have like 25 seconds so that there's a little time in the front and the back. And boom, done. Now, that's like the really easy way to do it. To be honest, I love sound editing, and I've been mixing music for, since I was in middle school. So I like to mix it all myself and put it all together myself. And I got a lot of sound editing stuff and things like that. podcast done. I always export it as MP3. But then what I do is I go take it to rev.com. That's REV, as in like Romeo, EV. Does that make sense? Romeo, Echo. I can't remember what the envelope. That's a classic example of being vulnerable right there. I'm tired and I can't remember the phonetic alphabet. Okay, so it's REV, Rev, like you're revving an engine, rev.com. It's cool because you can transcribe a minute, $1 per minute. So I go send it over to him and I get a transcription. Then I send it over to my assistant, who actually is my sister, and she goes and she reads the whole transcript, makes sure that they did it okay. They throw pictures. She throws pictures in there. She actually puts the podcast straight on the blog. Then she publishes it to Libsyn. Honest, like half of that's just technobabble crap that you can just kind of wing and figure out while you need to figure it out. You don't need to see the whole road. You know what I mean? Just figure it out when you're there and you need to figure it out, not before you get it all done. So anyway, guys, that's how I publish my podcast. And I love my podcast. And I'm so glad that there's so many people that have been joining it and loving it and all the awesome messages. I just really appreciate it. All the shout outs on Facebook, it's been really, really awesome. And I just want to thank you guys for helping me as much as the cool things I've been able to share with you about building sales funnels and putting things together. I just finished another sales funnel today, and I should be finishing 3 more tomorrow.